The hopes are high for Mick Schumacher. There is a great driver inside him, but he hasn't been able to show it in Formula One yet. He's got a long way to go to live up to his name, but he knows that he's capable of it. If he can prove himself worthy, there's a spot at Ferrari with his name on it. So what exactly does Mick have to do to make it to the top? And how hard has his road been so far? Stay tuned to find out. First up, best start imaginable. We talk a lot about how much money drivers start with and how connections play a big role in getting them into the sport. But some things are more valuable than money. If you're a young, passionate driver wanting to make it to the top, you need instructors. You can't teach everything to yourself. And how about a 7-time world champion for an instructor? That's what Mick had by being lucky enough to have Michael as his father. Mick has said that his dad was his idol and his role model as a kid. And in a Netflix documentary released last year, his mother said that Michael always spent as much time as he could with the children. And it wasn't just his father. Mick grew up around racing. His uncle Ralph and his cousin David are both racing drivers too. It definitely runs in the family, and you can tell. When he was still karting, he would often go by a different surname to try and keep the attention away from him. He wanted to be a normal kid and compete fairly. That's because he knew he could win. Mick has won the F3 and F2 championships on his way to F1. They are both important stepping stones in motorsport and show F1 teams which drivers have got the stuff. So he inherited some of his dad's driving skills. Plus, he had the highest level of training a kid can have. And as a bonus, Michael Schumacher was able to build a fortune for his family. He is one of the only billionaire athletes in history and is synonymous with Formula One. Money might not buy Mick happiness, but it certainly makes life a lot easier. Next, motivation to go on. With all that money in the family, what is it that motivates Mick? Mick sees his father as his biggest inspiration. Tragically, Michael can't give Mick any career advice now after a skiing accident he had in 2013. Mick was just 14 and was actually with him at the time. It's a moment that Mick will never forget. Michael hit his head on a rock and had to be airlifted to the nearest hospital. Once he arrived, the doctors performed 2 surgeries before they decided to put him into a coma. Almost 9 years later, and he still hasn't recovered. But according to reports from 2019, a radical stem cell treatment improved Michael's condition to conscious. It's not known what his condition is now, and the family are notoriously private. That year, former FIA president Jean Todt said that Michael is now able to watch Formula One races at home. We can only hope that he is enjoying watching his son try to make him proud. To this day, Mick continues to be inspired by his father's legacy. He said that while he has respect for other drivers on the grid, Michael is the kind of driver that he wants to emulate. Mick has said that he would sacrifice everything that he has right now for a chance to talk with his father again. He was the most influential person in his life and continues to be. Even his racing number is a reference for his father. Mick races under the number 47, which means 4-7. He is honoring his father's 7 world championships. He also races under the same abbreviation of MSC that his father did. Haas to keep at it. What a change a year can make. Last year, Mick Schumacher was clearly the better driver in his team. His teammate, Nikita Mazepin, had steamrolled his way into the team with his father's money. But once he got there, Mick out-qualified him 19 out of 22 times and finished higher than him 16 out of 21 times. There was a significant gap in skill, and Nikita got more and more frustrated as the season rolled on. In a segment of the Netflix show Drive to Survive, Haas team boss Guenther Steiner pulls Nikita out of a meeting when he's being rude to the engineers. He gives him a reality check and tells him that all the work they are doing is to try and help Nikita perform. Behind closed doors, he says, "You need to keep on trying, Nikita. We are getting you closer to Mick. I know that is the frustration." That was last year. This year is a different story. Nikita was axed from the team earlier this year after Russia invaded Ukraine. There was a range of sanctions against Russian athletes and sponsors, with Formula One following suit. At such short notice, it was a mystery who would be able to step into the vacant Haas seat, and it took everyone by surprise when Kevin Magnussed was revealed to be the driver chosen. Magnussed is a seasoned driver and knows how to take chances given to him. With the Ferrari-powered Haas, Magnussed has gotten off to a flying start already. In his first race, he finished in 5th place. He has remained consistent and is already 12 points ahead of Mick in the championship, who hasn't scored anything. The competition is much higher now, and Mick needs to get his head in the game. Coming up, how much money did one of Mick's crashes cost Haas? And is he only in Formula One because of his father? So don't go anywhere. Family ties. Many critics think that Mick made it to Formula because of his family. Michael left a huge impact on the sport, and there's no doubt that some doors would have opened for Mick because of his father. Kimi Räikkönen thinks that Mick is there on merit. The famously tight-lipped Finn said that he's not in F1 because of his second name, and added that Mick reminded Kimi of Michael a lot. And he's not the only one who thinks so. At the end of last year, it was announced that Mick had been given the role of test driver for the Ferrari team. If either Charles Leclerc or Carlos Sainz pulls out out of a race, it could be Mick who is called up to replace them. Mick has been part of the Ferrari Driver Academy since 2019, and they have been watching him closely. They watched him set a blistering time with Alfa Romeo, and it was only beaten by Max Verstappen. They have big hopes for him, but also have a few backup options like Antonio Giovinazzi if Mick doesn't work out. Ferrari team boss Mattia Binotto has said that as part of the academy, Mick had access to engineers, coaches, and the simulator at their home base in Maranello. This is the same headquarters that his father would have walked into during his time at Ferrari, and at this rate, he's walking the right path to follow him. Costly mistakes. During qualifying at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix this year, Mick had a big crash. He was taken to hospital, but it was reported that he didn't suffer any injuries. After it was confirmed that he was okay, it was time for the team to have a look at the damage, and it wasn't pretty. The total cost of Mick's crash was estimated at a total $1 million, and because of the budget cap restrictions this year, Haas had to think carefully about what to do next. They decided to sit Mick out of the Grand Prix because they couldn't afford for him to have another collision. But if he's going to prove himself worthy of being part of a top team, Mick really needs to be more consistent. He's not the first rookie to go through this, though. When Max Verstappen was crashing a lot during his time at Toro Rosso, his father's advice saved him. He told Max that he shouldn't try to push the car to the limit because even before the limit, he was already faster than most other drivers. Mick has had to find his own balance and the right level of commitment for each moment. There is now mounting pressure for him to perform, with newspapers asking whether he can handle the competition of his new teammate. But he has got the wholehearted endorsement of his teammate, Kevin Magnussed, this week. K-Mag said that Mick really has what it takes to be here and didn't doubt Mick's capabilities. Now it's about putting it all together. That's the tricky part. Do you think that Mick will ever be a world champion? And can he handle the pressure this year? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.